The one question I'm asked more than any other by a factor of 10 is, how do I influence a stakeholder with more positional power than me? This stakeholder could be a boss, head office, a chairman, a board, shareholders, or even the government. Typically, the person asking me the question is required to do something they don't believe in, such as commit to an unrealistic financial target. By the time I hear about it, they're usually frustrated and fixated on why the stakeholder is wrong and they're right. They explain their logic to me in great detail and ask me for strategies to help convince their more powerful stakeholder to see the world through their eyes. This is exactly the wrong approach. Your ability to influence those with positional power has very little to do with your logic, and it has zero to do with what you see through your eyes. Instead, it's a function of two main factors: your currency and your courage. Before you even consider trying to influence someone with more power than you, make sure you have assessed both of these factors very carefully to see whether you have any chance of success. Your currency is a metaphor for your trust, your credibility, your reliability, and your perceived motive. Now, before you start assessing yourself favorably on these dimensions, let me be clear. How you perceive yourself is completely irrelevant. The only thing that matters is how your more powerful stakeholder would assess you if they were speaking freely about you to someone else. How would they assess your credibility on the issue at hand? Do they believe you are the ultimate authority, or do they feel that they know more than you do? Given your track record of delivering on your commitments to them, how would they assess your reliability? What about your perceived motive? To what degree would they believe you are acting in your interests versus their interests? Before you try and influence anyone with positional power, take a really critical look at yourself through their eyes. If you believe you have high credibility and high reliability, you have a ticket to the game. Once you're at the game, it's all about your perceived motive. Your stakeholder must believe that you are acting in their best interests, not yours. In essence, they must feel that you care even more about their needs than they do. Currency is the first condition that is necessary for influence. If you have that, it becomes a question of courage. Put simply, your courage is your risk appetite. It's ultimately a question of what you are prepared to stake in pursuit of your outcome. At one end of the spectrum, you may be fearful for your job and not willing to tolerate any risk at all. If this is where you're at, then you have almost no ability to influence the situation. My best advice is to let go of your frustration, accept the situation, and just get on with it as best you can. If you're at the other end of the spectrum, you may be willing to stake it all. Perhaps you've had enough of being ignored or micromanaged, or perhaps you feel so strongly about your point of view that you're prepared to walk away if your stakeholder insists on pushing ahead. If this is you and you have high currency, then you're in the strongest possible position to influence your stakeholder. Next time you find yourself at odds with someone who has more positional power than you, rather than get lost in logic, data, and a debate you are unlikely to win, start by reflecting honestly on your currency and your courage in that particular context. These two factors have a much greater bearing on your ability to influence your stakeholder than anything else.